Okay, everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful day, whatever the day of week it is. I don't even know the date. It's the 19th day of October, 2021. I don't think I did my out the window weather this morning. Maybe I'll do an afternoon one. Anyways, hope everyone's having a good day. Let's go feed everyone. We're gonna walk around, feed everyone, talk a little bit about chickens, some of the other stuff that we've been doing. And yeah, that's the goal today. So let's head on out. So I got my orange glasses on again today. Orange glasses are spectacular in the fall. But let's get the temperature. Let's see what today's temperature is. Today's temperature is... It is about 70 degrees or about 20 C. So... just a beautiful, absolutely beautiful day on the farm. Got a lot of stuff done, a lot of stuff accomplished outside. Working on lots of cool stuff, but just a beautiful day. Love fall. Best time of year. By far, best time of year. Get to wear hoodies and just nice temperatures, not too hot, not too cold. All that kind of good stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off in the barn, feeding all those guys in the barn, get everybody fed and watered, and then we'll adventure on to some other things. Let me show you guys the before we walk there, since the sun is going to dip a little bit, let me show you guys the activity of the bees on a nice day. So these are the bees that we've moved over into the handy run. So you guys can see that they're very active. They're getting used to having the metal. They're getting used to having the metal to go through. But nice and active. Really, really nice smell of honey coming from this hive. So very happy about that. But yeah, they were sitting there. That's why that one's there, just in case we got some scragglers that didn't realize that they're home and moved. But just moving at this short a distance, these guys seem to figure it out pretty well, and so they just scooted over here. So it wasn't too much of a hassle. That's the one thing. If you want to keep your bees happy and healthy, when you're going to move them, you need to move them at small increments at a time and not big giant increments. Sometimes that can cause a whole lot of communication issues with the bees, and they get very confused. So I only like to move my bees. If I have to move them throughout the course of the year, I only like to move them small increments at a time. But yeah, this is one of the experiments that we're going to try this year. I am going to still put plastic up. I'll put plastic up to about right there, and then I'll leave a little area for the bees to be able to go in and out. And then I think I'm going to probably put some black insulation on the front, just to give that just so that the heat penetrates that and heats that up just a little bit. And I don't think I'm going to do any insulation on the left and right because it'll be inside the barn. And this barn, when I put the plastic all the way up, this thing got super rockin' hot. Like it could be chilly outside and it would actually be really warm, like really nice to get in there and super warm. Sup, Mock? Hope you're having a good day. Duck says hi to you as well. Okay, so here we are in the Kuppenheimer, where all of the Angie and yeah, they're mocking you as well. So here we are where all the Angimos live. Well, most of them. We're going to get everybody fed and watered in here, and then just chit chat while I'm doing my chores, because that's kind of the role if you're new to here. We just feed the chickens. We chit chat about a variety of stuff. If you guys have questions, if you guys want to see stuff, let me know, and I will work on that. Other than that, let me get some food and be on my way. Mark Boggs? Got a bunch of people hanging out down my feet, but that's just normally how it goes. We're going to start with the guys right under you guys. That's where Timmy lives. Timmy was the first little guy that we hatched this year, and we let Lisa's nephew name him. And he chose the name Timmy. So that's why his name is Timmy. I always like it. It's always fun letting kids name the chickens and such, because it's always really interesting to see what names they come up with. We had 3 chickens, 3 separate chickens named Bob. They were all named Bob because one of our friend's kids said that all the black chickens like that needed to be named Bob. So on a particular point, we had 3 chickens all named Bob. So I'm working on trying to figure out the best way to set up ways when it comes to instructions on feeding and such like that. So if anybody has any ideas, Kangaroo gave us the idea yesterday of using the magnets to help figure out when cages need to be cleaned and fed and such like that. So always thinking of new tips, new ideas. I want to try them out, see how well they work, and then I can share those kind of tips and ideas with you guys. But if anybody out there has any ideas, any ways to help organize and such like that, it'd be awesome. You know a buoy named Bob? Cool. Of course you would, Mock. Of course you would. So we're gonna go over there, got all those guys fed. We're going to hook that guy up on the other side of the fan, and then we're gonna swing over that way. So let me get that guy on the other side of the fan, and then we're going to venture more on. By the way, these are really nice scoopers. Again, like I said before, it's really nice to have particular equipment set up in each of your areas and knowing right where it is. And so we picked up these scoopers, having scoopers with the regular scoopers the size, and then knowing exactly how much you need to add to each of the chicken coops and each of the feeders definitely makes things easier. A couple years ago, me and Lisa, before we got our cooler over there, we had a bucket system where she's notorious for overfeeding and wasting a lot of food, and we were About a couple years ago, we were on a pretty tight budget because we were trying to purchase a few other things. And so we had to be very, very precise with our feeding, like way crazy precise. And because of that, we got really good at organizing how much food we were putting in each of our enclosures, in each of our cages for everyone. So I would have actually at that time would have loved to have a container like this to make things easier. Okay, so we're gonna go. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but you guys probably can't see that I'm just got ducks all the way around my feet, just going crazy. So I'm gonna get those guys. I've got 2 chickens over there. I need to get food, and then we're gonna head outside so I get most of these ducks out from wandering around on my feet, because that's kind of what they're doing right now. You know what we're not going to do with this egg today? We're not putting this egg in my pocket like I did yesterday and forgot about it and then crushed it as we were going for a walk. So I'm not putting this egg in my pocket. We're going to put the egg right up here by where my phone is, and it'll be nice and safe. So let's get the bucket. Let's head out and get the guys outside and the guys in the handy run. And then we'll come back here and get the bunnies and the rest of the water for these guys. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen. I'll show you guys what it's like if you put you guys here on the ground. If you want to see what it's like to what I feed them. That's what I thought was going to happen. And if you guys just want to pan up so you guys can see how many ducks and such I really do have. Yeah, no, eggs in a pocket, never a good idea. I just thought yesterday, I don't know what I was thinking, this being silly. Hungry ducks. So we're gonna head over here, get these guys some food. These guys, and then we will, we'll continue on to the handy run and get those guys in there. Also, I was looking at buying more trees today, because you know that's the thing is always trying to think about how to plan more for the future and think about what awesome stuff is. So me and Lisa, when we were talking on the phone today, we were talking about expanding our fruit forests and having more and more places for fruit trees and such like that. And so I was just thinking about talking about what kind of fruit trees we're going to order for next year. And what varieties and how to shake things up and how to do things a little different than we've done in the past years. We're also going to be planting, I've started planting a bunch of pawpaw seeds, but I'm going to start we talked about we're just going to try to get all the seeds that we have from anything, like any fruit trees, from apples to anything that we think can grow here. We're going to pick an area and I'm probably just going to prepare it ready for just seeds and then space things out and just try to start a little micro fruit forest from seed. I mean, yeah, it'll take a long time to get good fruit and such from that, but it'll also be kind of cool. I mean, I look what I've done in the last 15 years. And so just thinking, if I start now, what in the next 15 years will look like. And it may seem like 15 years is a long time, but honestly, like on the farm, it really flies past. Like it's really crazy how just in a few years, you just realize how many years have actually gone past. Like some of the fruit trees that I have in my yard, I planted 9 years ago. So the perk of buying the fruit trees instead of using the seed is that you're gonna get a yield a little faster than you are the seed. The perk of planting the seed is that you're going to get something. One, you're getting something for free, but two, you might be getting something that is just completely unique to. That's going to be unique to your farm. Because like with apple trees, apple seeds, you never know what kind of apple it's going to point out. So if you've eaten a particular apple, so like let's just say we'll pick Yellow Delicious. If any of you've had Yellow Delicious apples, every Yellow Delicious apple has came from the graft of one particular tree. And that's a tree from the 1880s that was here in West Virginia. Every Yellow Delicious is technically a clone from that apple tree. So if you plant a Yellow Delicious apple, like you plant some of the seeds, you're not going to get a Yellow Delicious apple. You're going to get something with a slight different genetic variant to that. So it might taste similar, it might look similar, but it technically won't have all the same characteristics of a Yellow Delicious apple. So that's the really cool thing about planting apples, and a lot of fruit. That's how that goes. That's what's really super interesting about fruit. But that's also why cloning and grafting and all that is also really important in the fruit world, is because that's how you stay true to form, is how you get a fruit tree that is exactly what you want it to be. So, okay, here we are back in the bunny barn. Let's get everybody some water in here, and then get the rabbits that's in here some food. Let me sit you guys right there for just a second. Kangaroo, what's up? We're gonna get some water now today. By the way, guys, if anybody out there that's watching this that is interested in just watching and chit-chatting with us while I'm doing my chores, while I'm not necessarily streaming, and you guys just want to just chit-chat with us, because a lot of times Mock and Mark and Kangaroo and me and some other people are on our Discord, !Discord. We've got just a chat channel where we just kind of hang out and chit-chat, talk about variety and everything under the sun. But if you guys have farming questions and such, you guys can hit me up there. So, once the weather starts turning cold and we start getting snow on the ground, and I'm not spend as many time working on some of the projects, I'm gonna do some more. We'll do some more just indoor videos where we talk about a variety of stuff. But right now, with the weather being so good and trying to get a lot of the chores done for winter, I pretty much do the Let's Feed the Chickens, and then we have our Thursday night show. See, what you're seeing is the cheating way, the easy way to do this. This is why we set things up the way we set things up. Over years of raising chickens, we found easy, quick ways to make sure I can get everybody fed and watered in a super timely manner. There's probably easier ways than what I'm doing this, but this just is what we do. This seems to work the best for us. So we're just a couple weeks away. I'll show you guys how I winterize the barn. So we do a few winter tricks here in the barn. So when I get to the point where we're going to winterize the barn, I'll make sure that when I do a show just dedicated on how I winterize it, how I get things ready. So I don't use heaters. So some of you might be wondering about stuff like that. I don't use heaters. I let the animals create most of their own heat. I make sure that the wind doesn't keep everybody. That this barn gets mildly, I'll say lightly wind tight, because it still gets cold in here and water still freezes, but I don't go so over the top that I worry about putting heaters and such in here. Now I do actually have a heater in here, and that heater is for days that we need to clean out all of our waters. I have one of those jet heaters. It looks like a jet engine, and that thing heats it up really nice in here. It runs on propane. Does a good job when we need to, on the rare occasion that everything's frozen in here and I need to unfreeze all the waters. But yeah, it's usually like once or twice a year. One of the tricks I did learn is having a fan blowing. It sounds silly, but having a fan blowing and having air movement actually keeps the humidity level down. And the humidity level is the big thing that you want to worry about in a barn in the winter. But again, when it gets back to the time when we start talking about winterizing stuff and all that kind of stuff, I'll keep you guys updated. So that you guys can join it and ask questions and see exactly how I do things. So is everybody having a good day? It's fall for most of you. Well, Demetra, it's not fall. It's late. It's early spring for him. But just you guys doing? Everybody else doing interesting things to prepare for the fall season? So. I just need to walk over there and get some food, so. No, Mock, that's cool. If you guys aren't following Mock is building a trailer on his channel, and it's really cool. Just if you guys want to see somebody actually doing something and building a trailer build, jump onto the Daily Mock's channel, and he's been streaming. He's been streaming the last couple days. I know, like a couple days ago, the first stream was just getting the trailer all fixed up. So it's really a really cool thing. So you guys should be worth checking out if you're just looking for something more interesting to check out today. Got a bunny right down here below me that is eyeing me, wanting some food. One of the things that's high on our priority this year, that we're going to be doing a lot more in the winter because we didn't get around to doing it, is one of the things that you'll notice when you build your own cages is over time the hinges and such break. It's just inevitable from how often you're going to open them up. So hinges usually last about 3 to 4 years is what we found out with most of our cages. And so after that particular point, it's best to just take them off and just replace them. So I buy bulk hinges, so I get on there and buy bulk like cabinet hinges, and then me and Lisa get in here, and during the fall and during the winter time, when we can have less projects outside to work on and more projects inside because of the weather and such, that's when we kind of focus on doing the hinges and making sure that our hinges are all set up. Making sure I got the last couple guys in here all fed, and we're gonna head out and see the baby bunnies shortly after I get these guys in here fed. Thanks, Duck. Ugh. Duck came from the back and knocked you guys on the ground. Sneak attack. So sometimes the ducks come around and do crazy sneak attacks. It's funny, they'll see the lights on the camera, or they'll see the camera and then they'll start pecking on it, and then sometimes they just knock it right over. It's really actually pretty funny. We also need to build a few more things in here. Hey man, thanks for the treats. Absolutely appreciate that. Also with the rabbits, the other thing that we're going to be doing more in the winter time is we're going to be building new cages. Me and Lisa's been talking about that. And now that wood prices is going down, we've opted that most of the time we actually like the cages that we build the best, instead of going the ones that we went out and bought. So something that we're going to, when we'll do some more videos on the builds, on how we build them and how we get them all functioning. Okay, so I got all these guys. I got all those guys fixed. and fed and watered, and let's go check out the baby bunnies, because I know that's what a lot of you guys want to see. So we're gonna head down over here, get some water for everyone, go say hi to the baby bunnies, and then we'll wander around and show you guys some of the other. Maybe give Sylvia a little bit more food. I gave her just a little bit about an hour or so ago. Sylvia's very precise on the time you've got to feed it, but when you're a 600-pound pig, I guess it's perfectly fine to be kind of be a little bit bossy. So we'll go in here so you guys can see. There's one of the little baby bunnies. But if I come down over here, you'll see him. So I actually do this for you guys that... This is the cage that has the camera in it. So if you guys can see the camera right up there in the corner. So if you guys follow the Mavis Pharmacy and you guys want to watch the baby bunnies, you guys will be able to with this one. But little baby bunnies, they're one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite stages that they're at. They're cute and they're happy. So these are the ones that were in the bunny barn last week. We've since moved them over to here so that they can they get more used to. The idea is some of them are going to be released, some of them we're going to sell, and some of them might live in different types. And some of them might want to live in different things, and so that's why we get them acclimated and used to different temperatures. So yeah, and some of them, Sergeant Bob, that's true. Some of these guys, as they go to other people's homes and such like that, these guys are bred as homestead rabbits. The idea behind that is we pay attention to their meat to bone ratio. So some of these rabbits are friends that you can eat. So, I mean, you look at them when they're this young and you're just like, how? But, you know, again, you just make sure you give your animals a really awesome, spectacular life and a good home, and then they give you lots of stuff in return. Now, some of you might be wondering, I'm a gentleman farmer, so I don't eat any of my animals, but I don't have opposed to other people choosing to do that and such like that. It's just a decision that me and Lisa has made, but we also understand that some people might want to buy rabbits and have a very sustainable, spectacular food source. Because I will tell you, with how often I have babies and how many babies they have, it does make a really good source of food. We might be wondering, well, what do we use our rabbits for then if we don't eat them? So we use them to sell, but I also use them to prepare for new garden plots and such like that. So they do a wonderful job of creating lots of spectacular new soil, really good fertilizer, and such like that. I'll give an example. So I am putting in right here, I've decided that I want a new fruit bed, fruit and vegetable bed right here. So I've went down, and when I cleaned out I've cleaned out a lot of this spot, cleaned out the cages, and put the stuff down. And then I'm gonna be I'll be putting a triangle around this, build this up, and then fence it around. And this will be a really good place to start growing in a small little area. So it'll be a really good place to start growing some crops and such like that, kind of like what I did here. If you guys can see how I've got this little micro herb garden right here. So in there is a bunch of different types of herbs that we grow, and a few other things that's taken over. But we got oregano in there, we got basil. I can't remember. We have a few other things, but I like to set up little micro gardens, like especially for herbs or for other things. So, and as you guys can see there, right between the gray fence and this fence, that's also another little micro garden. The reason for these is they can add little ecosystems, and you can grow a variety of different types of foods and different types. Like this one, I had one tomato plant in here. So there's one tomato plant, and this thing produced me I would say probably 50 tomatoes. It was just one tomato plant, but that was mostly because the soil was just absolutely so spectacular. I mean, look, it's, you know, we're late in the season and we still got tomatoes. We still got tomatoes ripening and ready to go. Like this guy's still good. So great for a sandwich. And then, you know, there's still a couple other guys that you see right down there. And then I also got, you know, I can take these clippings off of these and bring them in the house and have ready tomato plants for next year. That's usually what I do. I usually take my clones. So, I mean, like, look right here. Look at this. Let me get to my hand. Look at that beautiful clone right there, man. Ready to go. So this is this spot right here. See where it makes this V? And this guy growing up right here in the middle. This guy right here in the middle. Clip it right here at the V. Put this thing in some rainwater for about 2 or 3 days. It'll start getting the free roots. If you leave it in there for a week or two, the whole thing will get absolutely crazy rooty, and you've got yourself a nice little, look at that, you got a nice little tomato start. And you know exactly what kind of tomatoes it's going to do, and very precise and good to go. And that's and then what you do is, I prefer to like keep them bonsaiing and ready to go. So no, you're right, Sergeant Bob. Frost is coming soon. And you're right, I've done this actually. I have about 15 already in the house ready to go, but I might end up doing a few more. With the price of what food's increasing lately, I think I might end up doing a few more than I was initially thinking I was going to do this year. So, been trying that with a bunch of stuff. I also have been digging up all my peppers and bringing my peppers in, and then trimming my peppers down and having them ready to winterize and bring them in so I can have mature plants put into the ground in early spring next year and just have a nice jump start. So save some money and not have to focus so much on raising them from seed, but having nice, mature, ready to go plants. So there's a handful of plants that you can do that with, and then there's, you know, some you can't. So it's just kind of the ones that I can, or the ones that I want to try. That's always the fun experiments to try those with. So we're gonna walk down here. I'll show you guys the other hives that I have. These are the hives. 2 of these hives I need desperately to get into. I just gotta get the time. So that hive and that hive, I need to get in there and put the medicine in, apple bar, just to make sure they don't have mites. The reason I'm doing it, that's my control hive. That's my hive that I have not been in. I have not opened that hive since, I would say, May. I've opened it one time, and the one time I opened it was just to get that middle place, to put that middle thing in place, just because they needed some more room. So, downfall to that is that means that I'll have some bees that are not happy with me. So that's part of the reason, I will be honest, I've been slacking at getting in and winterizing that guy. But so far doing well. I bought this year, let's see, how many hives did I end up buying this year? I ended up buying 6 hives. Yeah, I ended up buying 6 hives this year. And right now I have 8 hives, so I'm ahead of the curve. So most of my hives, 9 hives. I have 9 hives. I have 9 hives this year, so I'm ahead of the curve with that. So hopefully we'll see how well those go. Not quite winterized them yet. All of them except for those 3 have their medicine and ready to go. I do in a couple weeks. I've been giving everybody a little extra sugar water, just to give them. There's still some pollen and such, but I just want to make sure they've got a little extra going into the winter. And then I'll also be putting the winter patties on everything but the control hive, just to give it a little extra start, just to see if that helps out again this year. Again, just always trying experiments. 2 of the hives are now in the front part of the house. I think some of you guys have seen those pictures. We'll go walk back there in just a minute, and I'll show you those. 2 of those in front of the house. The reason when we go and we look at the placement that I put them, Those guys are completely outside of the realm of the cell towers. Actually, right here, I'm surprised. Right here would actually be a good spot as well, because you can't actually see any of the cell towers. All the trees are doing a wonderful job of blocking them. But as we walk over this way just a little bit, you'll see I've got a cell tower back in the way. And it's just one of the things I've been suspecting is that with the wrong placement and having cell towers, being able to interact with them, trying to figure out how to see if that doesn't hurt them. So as you guys can see, cell tower right there. And then as we walk further down in the field, when we start walking back, you guys will see the other ones. So the berry bushes and other things, these are what I put in some of the row gardens. I know some of you had asked before, and I think I showed this yesterday. The reason I have the hay, the leftover hay and such, I just use them in rows. That's a pre-row. I haven't scythed that yet, so I'll come in here with the scythe, cut that down to ground level, leave all the dead grasses and such to die, and then I'll put the mulch, the hay over it. And then this particular one is I've put some stuff in here. There is some chocolate mint. So right here is my chocolate mint. So this mint right here, it has this nice like chocolate taste to it. So there's the chocolate mint that I have here. And then I have a handful of different types of berries. So there's some berries there. And here's some more berries here. I let these corn grow in here just because, I don't know, this was just feed corn and feed barley. Some barley here. And just let this stuff just grow up on its own, let it do its own thing. So and then I'm actually going to be, some of the trees that cut down, I'm actually going to build a trellis on this back, and so I'll be easily be able to pick the berries and such. You're talking about elderberries. My elderberry patch is right there, and it did awesome this year. Lots of great elderberries. My patch is, the idea is I want my patch to expand all the way that way. So that's like an old river or an old stream ditch that, 60, 70 years ago was actually covered up, and now the water's like penetrating up through, but like right there is the elderberries just seem to really like to grow. So just kind of letting them do their thing, letting them grow. My Three Sisters plan, which was corn, beans, and squash, did awesome. Very impressed. So still got some tomatoes up here. If you guys saw the tomatoes up here, this is one tomato plant that I just brought up here. This guy's still rocking it. This whole thing is just this giant tomato plant. All throughout here, we see this high grass. That's actually a bunch of potatoes. Here, I'll show you guys. I can see one coming to the surface. So right in here, some potatoes. And then once I dig down into all of this, there'll be potatoes all throughout here. And you guys want to know where I got the potatoes is I went to Aldi's, and they had the little seed potatoes. They're just the little tiny potatoes that they were selling to eat. I just bought one of those bags full of those, and I think it was like 3 pounds of potatoes. They're red and white and yellow potatoes. So I got the and I just planted them into my garden, and so far I have harvested I think 58 pounds, maybe 60 pounds of potatoes just off of that little bag of $3 potatoes that I bought from Aldi's. And I still haven't done a row and a half yet. So just being able to bid that $3 and having in the kind of soil that I have here was able to transfer that $3 of potatoes, or that 3 pounds of potatoes, which was, probably close to $3. But that 3 pounds of potatoes, so far I've been able to transfer that up into 60 plus, because I still have some more that I haven't I haven't harvested yet. And then some of those, I might not even eat all of those. I might just go through those. I collected them all, took them all out, but I might just winterize those and then bring them up here in early spring and throw those guys down. And might not have to buy any more potatoes. If you do potatoes right, you never have to buy potatoes again. Seed potatoes again, you're just going to always regularly have potatoes. So I'm guessing I probably even didn't dig all the ones up that are up there. So I'm guessing I'll still have a lot of sprouts come up. So one thing I love about potatoes is if you set up the soil right and you give them a good environment, they'll just keep making you more and more and more potatoes. It's a pretty amazing thing. So downfall to this part of the season. I don't know if you guys can hear I'm nasally. So I do have seasonal allergies. A lot of it is fungus. So this time of year, I do have a little bit of seasonal allergy. That just means that I need more honey. I need to be adding more honey to my mix and start taking some of my elderberry syrup that I take, mix that with some honey and a nice elderberry concoction. So, but allergies are good for your immune system. Keeps you nice and healthy on your toes. So, but yeah, me and Lisa, we did a lot of trying to figure out how much, because we were measuring a lot of our food that we got this year. So with the also because I also include those pawpaws that I went and harvested, I think we're at between 400 to 600 pounds of food that we extracted from our gardens this year. So a lot of that was pears and apples as well. But we also had a lot of awesome tasty stuff. Some stuff with just beans. We just did really, really well. We had a really good year for not even really going all out, for kind of waiting really late in the year and kind of slacking because we had a really late frost. And so I planted a lot of stuff after Mother's Day. So what does a pawpaw taste like? A pawpaw tastes like, I say it tastes like banana custard. It doesn't taste like a banana, it tastes like banana custard. So it's very sweet and it is very custardish. So it's a lot more of a texture like a pudding or a custard than it is like a fruit. Absolutely spectacular. Can't eat a lot of them, but like half a pawpaw or one pawpaw is a really good dessert. Very, very tasty. So I collected a whole bunch of pawpaw seeds this year and plan on trying to plant as many as I possibly can around about. So I might go out to the pawpaw patch maybe tomorrow and see if I can get a few more pawpaws for some seeds and see what I can do about trying to see if I can. The idea is I'm trying to plant as many pawpaws on the property just because I enjoy them. Plus they're really fun. They're a really fun fruit to have. So here is the 2 bees that I moved over here by the house. So you guys can see they're nice and protected by the house. They've got nice and protected by the house. I put them by the rocks for a particular reason. These guys are south facing, so they'll get the morning sun. And then I'm actually going to wrap these guys up. When it gets a little closer, I'll take off their feeders that they have on them, their waterers, and put some stuff down, and we'll go from there. And hopefully they will. This is an experiment that I'm going to do with these guys. These guys have been pretty much protected from all of the cell towers this entire year. Both of these hives did very, very well. Actually, the little hive, this is actually a split from that hive. And these are, I believe these are carnies. I'm pretty sure these guys are carnies. So these guys are hot carnies. These guys are the white ones, the cherry bees. They're definitely hot carnies. These guys get a little angry. Some of you guys have watched when I've messed with these guys. They're a little bit hotter than some other carnies that I've had in the past. So, and then this is that's a flat top bee. So probably from carnies, but it is a local queen. So there's a chance that these carnies are also a local bee. I think that they could have swarmed once and I missed it. I'm not sure. But yeah. And the porch peas are the Russians. Oh, here's another fruit tree. I've got another, these both are fruit trees hiding in here. So these are August pears, and then these guys are October pears. It's always a good idea to have your fruit and have your fruit set up at completely different times. Here's some of our bun buns. You know, that just run around and dig holes in our yard. This is part of the downfall to letting bunnies free range, but then again, you know, you might think that they're being destructive, but they're actually helping aerate your yard because, you know, yards aren't supposed to be actually flat and without holes. You know, that's going to make spots for water to sit. It's going to make spots for bugs and such, so. I still go to the store. 6 or 7 years ago. So 6 or 7 years ago, I did really good. I would say maybe close to 50 to 60% of everything I ate came from the farm. And then a lot of complications happened in life, and I wasn't able to do that again. And so this year, I've been cycling back down to that. There's a lot of stuff that's just too much of a hassle for me to grow without a greenhouse and such like that. So I don't mind going to the store. There's a lot of stuff that I do limit now. Like I'm very just picky about stuff. I don't spend a whole lot at the store. We don't buy a whole lot, but I'm probably about 80-20 right now. In reality, 80% of my food comes from the store, 20% comes from the farm. But that's just because there's just stuff I enjoy eating from the store that right now is a lot less work getting it from the store than if I had to spend the time doing it myself. But if I had to, because there's a handful of stuff like I don't have access to milk, I don't have access to coffee, chocolate, and rice and wheat right now. That's probably the biggest things that I have in my diet that I can't currently grow here. But if need be, I could probably swip that 80-20 to 20-80, where I'd only get 20% of the stuff I needed at the store and 80% of the stuff I could eat here on the farm. That shouldn't actually be very hard. It just takes some dedication, and it just takes the fact that focusing more on growing a variety of different things. So it is fun. I usually try to I didn't do any on-site lesson. I didn't do any on-site lessons this year, just because some of the supplies that I wanted to get was getting a little bit harder to get, and the people that I talked to about wanting to do certain things, when I tried to organize a class, I had a lot of people just not interested in. A lot of people that were just not interested in coming to the farm or me going to a lot of places. But next year, I totally plan on doing a lot more classes. I'm going to do my mushroom class again. We're going to do actually a variety of mushroom classes again, because I've learned some new things and some other mushrooms that I'd like to add to that mix. I'm going to do some more classes on chickens and ducks and such like that. I'm going to do some classes on. I really want to do the building the composting toilet classes so that you guys can do composting building. And if I can get the loan or the grant in place, we're going to build a cabin here on the property for future revenue and such like that. But if all works out well with the cabin, I might end up just doing a class where I have a builder come in, someone that is willing to teach about building, and we can come here and we can learn how he's going to build this cabin and some lessons about stuff like that. So yeah, I have absolutely a bunch of logs for the shiitake. Shiitake mushrooms is what you're talking about. I have a bunch of logs that I'm letting winterize over the winter. And then in the spring, I'm just gonna zip off the size that I want for them, and then I'll just inoculate the crap out of those. So the cool thing about they do really, really well, and the mushrooms the little logs that I have produce me quite a bit of mushrooms now. Now it's been 2 years that they've been inoculated, but they've produced me a whole lot of really nice mushrooms on just some pretty small logs as well. So very impressed with how well. So I can imagine how great some large logs will do with the shiitakes. So, and then also the morels, being able to do morel seeding and being able to seed the ground with morels. And then the bags with growing oyster mushrooms and such like that. And then I've also been just trying to go around and seeing what kind of mushrooms are edible this time of year and learning about and getting better at wildcrafting mushrooms. So, oh yeah. By the way, drilling the hole is a must, an absolute must. Getting a good drill and then getting those plugs. And then what I also do, Sergeant, is I also put a little bit of wax over top of the plug. So I just do a light wax over top of the plug, and what that does is that locks some moisture in there, and it also keeps it so that bugs and other things don't go in through the plug to start attacking your wood. And of course that wax over time is going to go away, but yeah, waxing right over the plugs does wonderful. So yeah, if you've got radioactive mushrooms, it's probably not a good idea to eat radioactive mushrooms. So, but also we got some, if all works out, I've got a bunch of projects on tap for next year. So I got a bunch of projects, so we're going to see how well everything works out. I'm going to have a lot more. I should theoretically have more time next year. And the fact that me and Lisa's done a good job of keeping our budget where it is, and I'm on the process of learning how to do more grant writing and trying to figure out how to apply for some of the federal grants and such with my nonprofit. For those that don't know, I run a nonprofit called the Mavis Institute, and I teach a lot of stuff. If you want to see the website, if you type in !M, you can go to our website. It's the mavisinstitute.xyz. So if any of you happen to use Amazon, I don't just passing this along. If any of you happen to use Amazon, if you type in smile.amazon.com, it'll ask you for your favorite nonprofit. You can type in the Mavis Institute. And what happens with that is every time you buy something, a small percentage of what you buy gets actually sent to me. I get a small kickback of that. So Sergeant Bomb, either's fine. I've used both. Beeswax doesn't last as long, but it doesn't matter. You're really just trying to lock it in for a couple months. The idea is you're just locking that moisture in for a couple months, so it doesn't really matter. At this particular point, like I've just told people, whatever's the cheapest. So whatever is the cheapest that you can get is the way to go. So I've got ample amount of beeswax just sitting around. Giant beeswax balls. So I can just melt down beeswax and have that. But canning wax will also work just fine if need be. And again, you're not using a whole lot. You're just painting on a little tiny bit over that hole just to help seal it. So yeah, lots of plans. I'm really going to be hyper-focusing this winter on organizing more things so that I have more free classes online. I'm redoing all of my handouts so that all of the worksheet handouts that are available on there for free, that you guys can just access those and you guys can ask questions and being able to utilize those and just kind of sharing as much knowledge as I can with everybody else. And in the future, when I finally get a classroom space built here, where I'm going to start bringing experts in, and we'll be doing workshops, and I'll be able to. Some of them will be cyber workshops, and some of them will be physical workshops. I have a lot of stuff. What you guys are really watching, you're watching the very early beginnings of how I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to do this on my budget. So, like I said, besides the few donations that I get, and some of you that have donations, thank you so much for all that you've done. But when it comes to what we're doing here at the nonprofit, like I'm just taking my money and using it to do some of that kind of stuff. So I usually about your finger's length. That's about how far I drill the holes apart. And the size of the holes are going to be depending on the size of the plugs that you get. So you need to, when you order your plugs, you need to know the size of the plugs, because you want to just be able to push the plugs right in. So, and I found out that there's like three different size plugs. I thought there was just going to be a uniform type one size of plug, but there's about 3 different size plugs. And so you want to make sure that the hole that you're drilling is of the size plug that you're going to get. So they're just little wood dowel rods, really, and they've got like a spiral pattern on there, and there's the mycelia already built into that little spiral pattern. I don't have any sitting around, otherwise I'd show you them. But I usually place them. I usually place the holes about a finger's length apart from each other, and then just go and go in a circular pattern kind of all the way around the log. So, and that seems to do well. You can go a little long. You can go, again, if you're using a really big log, and it's a little bit thicker than your arm, you can go a little bit farther. Just that log's going to last longer, but you're going to get more mushrooms in the long haul, because you're going to be able to, year after year after year after year, you're going to get nice harvests. So we got a bunny hopping up right up on the front steps. Just chilling out right here, hanging out. Listen to us chit chat. This guy used to live in the backyard, but he's obviously moved to the front yard now. So the sun is almost crest over the mountain. Oh, some of you guys were wondering why I was wearing amber colored glasses. So part of the reason I talked about this 2 streams ago, part of the reason I'm trying to it's called biohacking or bioglitching, and the idea is to get your body used to different seasons and such like that. And wearing amber colored glasses in the evenings, not only does it enhance your ability to be able to see motion, and it makes your brain a little bit more active, but it also doesn't allow so much blue and green light in. And so with the blue and green light, that's actually what stops your producing melatonin, and that's why you have a tough time sleeping or being around looking at screens so often. And since me looking at this screen, I'm going to naturally see a lot more blue and green light, and so just kind of calming down the blue and green light and such. So yeah, Sergeant Bob, if you stand them up in like a pyramid shape, or if you stand them up around a tree, those are 2 tactics that I've seen people do the best. So just in a pyramid type shape where they touch all at the top. That has seemed that allows the wind to blow through them, but that also allows the moisture to come up through the middle, and also allows you to have mushroom blooms from all the way around the log. So that's one way I know a lot of people really like doing that. So just to show you guys, just to give you another perspective, because it's probably in about a month from now, all the leaves will be gone, and I'll be standing in a couple inches of snow. So just taking another look at how beautiful the fall is, how much I love fall here, and how things are going to change rather drastically. Those guys will be inside, and we will have absolutely tons and tons of snow on the ground. I'll also show you guys. Let me walk over here. I'm working on dealing with the how my pond started silting up really bad. So I'm working on another tactic right here to slow down the silt. So I put in a, see if I can get out of the sun so the sun's not shining so bright. So I put in a little silt pond right there. So there's my silt. So that's going to be my silt pond. That way when the water comes in, because the water comes off the mountain down into there. And then if that fills up with silt, it's not a big deal. It'll just help build this dam. And then the water will go down here. And then I won't have to worry about so much of the silt build up here, because I don't know if you guys can see how much silt is built up in there already. But there's about 12, 18 inches of silt since last time I dug that out. So just trying to counteract some of the silt, trying to work on some variety of different ideas, and making all that kind of stuff work with me instead of against me. And if you live in Appalachia, I do highly suggest these apples. These are Arkansas Black. I love Arkansas Black. What's great about Arkansas Black is they're a very, very late season apple. So these guys are not even quite ready yet. So they won't be ready until like the middle, probably the first or second week in November. And then they're kind of they have a little bit of a tartness. They're not quite as tart as a Granny Smith, but I love them as a very late season apple. So I like to have early season apples and late season apples, but it's just really nice having a late season apple. The other perk of them being a late season apple is they also bloom late. So even if you have a harsh spring, you usually always get some apples from that tree. Now that's a 10-year-old tree, and it produces me a really nice, good amount of apples. So let's go over and say hi to the baby bunnies one more time, and then I think we will head in and such. Yeah, dude, a pond and ducks. Having a pond and ducks is just one of the things that I think is just really cool to have. I suggest everyone that has a little bit of a homestead. Again, what we've just the homestead, the little farm area, my lab right now is roughly on about just under an acre. And so I've been doing this just under an acre to show that it is absolutely possible to do on not even a lot of land. And it can even be scaled down even more. So again, what this all, a lot of the places I've been walking around in my yard 15 years ago or 16 years ago, this was a hayfield. And so I just had some visions, planted a bunch of trees. All the trees that you see pretty much around my property that are down in the lower part, I planted or I allowed to keep growing up. And so, yeah, it's just amazing how you can terraform some land and transfer it and turn it into something even cooler. So, I got tons of bumblebees, tons of insects, like all the stuff that everybody worries about, all of the greenies worry about and all the other people worry about. Like, I can counteract most of that. So, and so it just at a really, just doing a couple techniques, we can really reverse a lot of stuff. And so, still got a lot of seeds to plant this year, and hopefully they'll turn into trees. But so far this year, I'm well under my normal count. But I think I said yesterday, I was at roughly 100 trees. I think I'm closer to 150 after I went through my count. So I usually try to plant about 1,000 a year, but I still got a lot of black walnuts to plant, and I'm going to try to go grab some more pawpaws and try to plant a bunch more pawpaws. So I'm going to shoot for my goal by the time I can't really plant anymore. My goal is to bring that 150 up to about 500 trees. So, and we'll see what I can do. That's the ultimate goal. Well, anyways, friends, I'm gonna head in. Got a couple more chores to do that usually take both hands. So I'm gonna let you guys go. So thanks for joining me on this fun adventure. Thanks for walking with me and helping me with the chores. I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of the day. Sergeant Bob, it was good seeing you again. And everyone else, thanks for swinging by. And my name's Doc. Again, you can join the Discord, !Discord, or !M if you want to hit up my website. And all my contact information is down below. Well, anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day. It's Doc. Till tomorrow. Adios.